2, 1. All right, let me pop that up there too. All right, good evening, guys. Troy, welcome.
Troy.
Hey, good evening.
How are things out in PA?
Good. Actually, we had some nice weather out here finally today. Happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way.
Yeah, top of the morning to you, even though it's afternoon. Did it finally stop snowing out there?
It did, yeah. Actually, most of the snow is pretty much gone until
Oh,
tomorrow. And the next day, we'll probably get a storm.
yeah.
No.
Oh, great.
I-
Some of
I've
your
heard the
people
fairy
were
tales. I've heard
some
the
of your
fairy tales of snow.
the
Sorry.
fairy tales. Yeah, it's just like Chicago. It'd be April. I was at a Cubs opening day in April, and it freaking started snowing. So it does happen. It does happen.
Oh wow, it exists.
It has snowed here like Mother's Day. Sometimes I've seen snow on Memorial Day.
No, no.
So it just depends, I guess.
Hey, Samantha.
But
Yeah, it's
well, I haven't had good luck today, though.
Hmm.
St. Patty's Day hasn't brought me any good luck.
oh, I know, right? Not even some beer. Not even beer. You can have some beer later, at least.
No, and I had all kinds of connection issues. Like I was saying, I couldn't get my Surface to connect to anything. So, and then we lost Abel. He was having some
Yeah.
technical difficulties there
Well,
too.
at least he's wearing green, and I see you got your green stripe on the flag.
I tried to get some, and I got the clover
Full
or the
blown
shamrock or whatever
undercover wearing green.
undercover.
Yeah, I don't have anything green. Damn it.
Manny, everybody send Manny a virtual pinch right now.
Odd man out. Yeah.
A virtual pinch.
Yeah, virtual pinch.
So, welcome everyone who's joining us. We're here with the one of the reps or one of the members of the Erie County, Pennsylvania Parent Coalition. And just like here in South Texas, the Brownsville Independent School District, they've got a lot of shenanigans going on over there too in Pennsylvania. I've witnessed it myself, and we streamed some of their meetings, and some of the things going on there are, I guess they go on everywhere, not just Texas, not just Pennsylvania, but what's been happening lately, Troy? How's it going? What do you got? What news do you got for us?
I was just gonna ask you real quick. That Jessica Martinez that you put me in touch with. Have you talked to her at all?
No, not in a little bit.
I was wondering what was going on there because I know that she mentioned she was going to contact a lawyer down there. But then literally like days after I talked to her, I think they lifted the mandate there, didn't they?
They lifted it. Yeah. They put that thing out a few days ago. And of course, I've asked a few educators, how's it going? And they say, yeah, everybody's still wearing their masks. Kids are still wearing them. Teachers are still wearing. Everybody's still wearing their masks. And
really, they're still wearing them even though it's lifted?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm
Wow.
telling you, when you talk about the system putting the fear into people,
Mhm.
man, it's ingrained. It's pretty
Embedded.
good. Embedded. Yeah.
It's indoctrination. Like, I mean, we've talked about that before. I think a lot of people disagree with that, but I mean, a lot of people are conditioned to wear this mask and they think it's normal, and it's been normalized for 2 years. So, I mean, I don't know what it was like there, but here, kids were made to feel like if they didn't wear it, they were going to get somebody sick.
Mm.
My daughter had told me that last year the teachers were pushing the students to get a vaccine and telling them, oh, it'll protect you and it'll protect the people that you love. Like, I just think that's really poor.
Hey
Poor
Troy,
taste.
are you vaccinated?
I am not.
Same.
I am not.
You bastards. Hey, Taylor. Okay, Taylor we started a coalition here in Willacy County, right? I'm assuming you're in Texas. Right now it's just 3 of us, but the board has been trying to keep the meetings on the hush hush. We demanded the mask mandate be lifted, or we were going after the surety bonds. That might be Taylor. I think Troy would be happy to talk with you and discuss some of this stuff going on. They've been dealing with a lot of this.
I'm just curious, what does she mean by the meetings are hush hush? I mean, I know everybody has different laws, but I mean, what
I
does
think
she?
she means their coalition that they put together, like the Erie County.
Oh, their meetings, not the
Yeah.
board meetings.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
pretty sure.
okay.
Yeah, at least that's what
Okay.
I got out of it.
Yeah.
Is it not optional? I mean, it's optional. It's just not mandatory anymore in Brownsville, anyway.
Mhm.
And just a week after it was lifted, that's what I was told. I talked to 3 people that are educators there and 1 administrative staff, and they're like, "Yeah, it's like no change. It's like no change at all whatsoever."
I'm
They're
just
not.
curious.
They're not being. Those that don't are not being harassed about it or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's just everybody's still wearing them.
I'm curious. Are you guys your mask optional? Is it tied to like a number, or is it just mask optional no matter what? Because like here, it's tied to a percentage. So if it gets to like 2% of the building, not the district, but
Yeah,
an individual building, then they'll mask the kids at 2%.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is also here.
Hmm.
In fact, if you want to keep
I'm
going
totally
there,
unsure. I mean, I've been homeschooling my kids since 2018, so I'm just happy for that part. It's all kind of BS, though. You know, I do definitely stand against the mandate. You know, free will is
Hmm.
where it's at, man. I mean, how can someone say, you know, we're a mask? I mean, we already
Right.
know all the negatives to wearing a mask,
Yeah.
and the negatives kind of outweigh the positives.
Hmm.
Like in reality, how someone can get sick is by being in contact to somebody who's sick, but half of the time, or more than half of the time, nobody in the room is even sick. You
I
know,
know.
so that's kind of like messed up, like you say. You know, it's like indoctrinating for sure.
Hmm. Do you think that let's say let's say COVID, some variant, because we know something's probably going to end up coming down the road.
Right.
Do you think that people will be more be willing to be compliant again with wearing a mask, or do you think that this time they're going to be like, no, we're not doing it?
I think they're going to be more compliant
I do
because
too.
the fact that every death that occurred in 2020 and maybe half of 2021 was written off as COVID, even though it was another cause that caused it. So everybody's scared. You know, almost
Hmm.
anybody you talk to will say, well, you know, I know somebody who lost somebody because of COVID. So because of that, you know, I'm afraid, or that's why I wear like myself, you know, I take my mask to the grocery store. I wear it on my chin until there's somebody, you know,
Hmm.
within a few feet of me.
Yeah.
I'll just put it on just because
Yeah,
just for their comfort. Honestly,
It's
it's not for my comfort.
it's respect. I get it.
And yeah, so
yeah.
it's kind of weird, right? But a mandate is a whole different story. You know, I remember the days when it was mandated here in Texas, and I mean, Walmart had the most bizarre thing where you can only go in one direction in one aisle, and then
They
the
had
next
they
aisle.
had arrows in all the aisles going that way, and the other one is that way, and you couldn't have people walk like this in the
Yeah.
in the aisle.
Dude, I saw a manager like freaking get after this old man, you know, like almost like if he was gonna beat him up,
Hmm.
you know. And I was like, what the heck is this guy talking to this poor old man? Like, just because he's going in the wrong direction, like calm down, you know, calm down.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
got
This
that
is
extreme. It's extreme when it gets that wild.
the lifting of the mandate for Brownsville, Texas. Brownsville ISD continues to take precautionary and necessary measures for the health, safety, and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff. So this is effective as of Monday, March 7th. Face masks will be optional after careful consideration. Of course, they're still encouraged. They're still with the social distancing, hand washing, and all that stuff. And if you test positive, you're required to quarantine for 5 days and wear a mask for an additional 5 days after that. And then there's a flow chart also, but I don't think I have a copy of that one.
So they're not tied to any specific number then.
But I mean, I think they are, but they didn't put it in this quick memo.
Hmm.
I mean, they don't even have to be tied down to anything because, like you mentioned, Troy, like teachers will just say, you should do this, you should do that, you know.
Mhm.
So what else can a kid do is when you're putting ideas in a kid's head, I mean, they believe in the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all that other kind of stuff. So when you tell them, you know, the mask, you do the responsible thing, you do this, do that, they're gonna kind of be like, okay, well, I should do this because my teacher that I look up to says I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to welcome Stacy to the conversation.
Miss Stacy.
Hello.
Hello.
Stacy,
Stacey.
how are you?
I'm good. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy
Oh
St.
man,
Patrick's Day.
What is it?
Manny's
5?
hungry.
Wow.
Holy cow! Is it November already?
And that's not even a beer yet.
Wow. You drank a regular Coke, didn't you?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this is the Erie County, Pennsylvania. I know it's just Erie County Parent Coalition, but it's the Erie County, Pennsylvania for those that are watching from Texas who don't know what the heck is going on here.
Right.
Sometimes they're, what the hell are you talking to people from Pennsylvania?
Listen, because it's happening in every state. It's
Yeah.
all the
Yep.
same.
Yeah. Exactly.
So is everything, have they lifted it in all statewide over there yet?
So
Um,
for us, it's
yeah.
and I don't know how it is. I'll let Stacy talk about hers, but real quick for us, here it's tied to a number. So, but what they were doing before is it was district wide. Now it's per building. So they take 2% of however many people, including staff, which originally they weren't going to do. Actually, they were going to only do it for the student population, which made no sense. So it's 2% of whatever the entire building is, case wise. So that's when masks will go on. And what's funny is that's not parent choice. That's not mask optional. Mask optional is just, you want to wear a mask, whether it's everybody in the building sick or 5 people in the building are sick. So to us, it's 2%. Stacy, I don't know what it's like there.
Most of the schools in our area have removed the mask. Even Pittsburgh Public Schools, which is like the big, massive one around here. I know they finally lifted their mask mandate, or the school finally said they could lift it. But I do want to say that for the ESSER funds, which every state got, there is sub grants to those ESSER funds, and I know through the state of Pennsylvania, it comes through the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, which I thought was very odd. Is why are we getting sub grants of ESSER funds through a criminal, something that's has nothing to do with health, we'll say, as far as COVID-19 protocols. So they were bringing in a lot of ESSER fund money through that, which was funny. I found that they have NIH grants. So your National Institute of Health, they have grants that fund the COVID-19 research, and there's actual checklists. So once a school hits a threshold, they have a checklist. It's almost like they can then go ahead and remove the mask once they hit this certain checklist of this research that they're doing.
Interesting.
Alyssa, it's like money laundering, basically.
Definitely. The whole COVID testing and all that they do, like at in the parking lots and stuff like that. They're buying the COVID tests at whatever price, let's say $15 each. But then since the government is paying for it, they raise the price to $100 or whatever per test. There's a huge profit to be made.
Are they still testing kids out there by you guys out there in Pennsylvania?
Well, yes. So actually that brings up, which I want more parents to understand and know what's coming. And it's nationwide. It's not just in Pennsylvania. There's a company called Ginkgo Bioworks, and our Governor Wolf paid $87 million to bring in COVID-19 testing into the schools for this school year.
Wow.
I think we have, you can go on the Pennsylvania Department of Education and look up how many schools have signed up for this. I want to say it's over 700, if I'm correct, that are actually have signed up or either onboarding, meaning that they've signed up and waiting for the testing to come in. Correct. So if you go into the ESSER funds, they've given the schools the ability to give gift cards out to parents as incentives. And if you go into the COVID-19 framework, of this testing of this Ginkgo Bioworks, it actually talks about incentivizing parents to have
Wow.
their kids sign up because it's voluntary, right? So that's why no politician will talk about it, because it's quote unquote voluntary. But you're having medical testing being done in our schools, and we don't have any reps speaking on this. So it makes me very curious as who's invested into this company,
Yeah.
why they won't speak on it publicly.
It's totally against the law. I don't recall the exact name for it, but a lot of people went to jail for it in 2018, 2019 for doing the same thing with tests, but they were testing for and the possibility of getting cancer in the future. It was called CGX testing.
Oh,
And so they were doing that to like the elders. So they would write it off with the Medicare, with the Medicaids or whatever.
Mhm.
And the thing about it is that after, I still don't recall the year, so I can say this half of the story. After a certain year, it became a law that you couldn't offer people kickbacks
Mhm.
for getting like per test. Like you're gonna get a kickback for every test you get. So that's why they do gift cards.
Yep, the incentive, because then they can't be tracked as well. It's a
Right.
lot easier to, you can't really track a gift card once you give it out.
Yeah.
They with the Ginkgo Bioworks and with the testing, they talk about, if you go onto the Securities and Exchange website, you can actually look up Ginkgo. If you go on ginkgobioworks.com and go, they actually have where they have all their securities and exchange information on there. If you look up, it was dated November 23rd, 2021. You can go in there. It's extremely telling what this company actually is about. It's about collecting their DNA for biosecurity. So, and they don't just talk about COVID-19, they're talking about any future pandemics to come in. And they said about $20 to $40 billion a year should be spent on this biosecurity and this testing in the school districts.
And they're still using the cheap test, the $18 test, and they're writing it off at a way higher price because they say, well, we have the equipment. If you go back and look at that CGX stuff in 2020, when they started busting all these labs, there was labs who, according to the documents I read, they would go into the lab. It wasn't a real lab. It was just like a room where employees would keep the test along with like their tacos and lunches, like that same refrigerator, basically. A lot of these people, some of them fled the country because it was millions, and some people got felony charges and they're in jail still. It's a big scheme, and it's the same thing that's happening. And that's why I have to say firsthand, this is exactly what is happening right now with these testing companies. You said they spent what, 87 million or 87,000 or what was it?
87 million.
The
Million.
CDC gave us, the CDC gave the state of Pennsylvania $338 billion for COVID-19 pandemic. And
Wow.
out of that, 87 million was spent for the COVID-19 testing.
So there's a bunch of
Or
millionaires
338
running around.
million, I'm sorry, 338 million.
There's a bunch of millionaires running around in Pennsylvania now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dang.
And if Stacy, I think if I'm correct on this, I believe that each district is operating under the state department, health department's certificate.
The
Is that
CLIA.
right? Aren't they? They're operating like under a temporary
Ginkgo
certificate.
Well, Ginkgo partnered with another company, and I'd have to go back to my notes to double check. Ginkgo partnered with another company that has a CLI certification, which is needed in order to, so they can have the students take the test. And when they take the test, it then goes out and ships out. So then it goes to their lab to go ahead and test. And they partner with Quest Diagnostics to do that. Now, with the CLI certification, that brings you in your school-based medical centers where they want to have a doctor's office and a medical center in your school district. And then with that licensing or that accreditation, whatever you want to call it, they can, or certification, I should say, they can then go ahead and do the testing on site right there.
But right now they're just training, aren't they just basically training teachers and staff to help the kids with the testing part of it?
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to bring up now. I'm getting the link for Manny right now. If I want you to see the video of what they do and what they have the kids do, because it's right on Concentric by Ginkgo. And if you go on, I'm going to get Manny the link right now.
Okay.
This is crazy. It's crazy that it's been pushed. And So a lot of criminals went to jail that year that I told you about for testing
Mhm.
for other things, but criminals only get smarter, and they figure out different
Yeah.
ways to bend the rules.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And this is exactly what they're doing: is bending the rules.
There it is. So if you go into Manny, if you go into how it works,
Okay. And where are we? Here we go.
yep, and scroll down and keep going. There's a video, and you can play the video of the boy and the girl testing themselves. Yeah, there it is, right there. So yeah, so these kids will test themselves. The teacher collects the samples, and then the teacher sends it in. So that's what our governor paid to do. And again, they want you to think that it's for they sell everything to you under the guise of safety, right? Everything needs to be safe. But really, if you go into that Security and Exchange Commission website, it tells you their true is to collect your DNA. So you have one end of the schools collecting your algorithms with all the apps, the testing, everything's research based, Canvas, Power School, all of that. So they're collecting your algorithms so they can give feedback to the kids to get them to talk about exactly what they want them to talk about or what to learn through the personalized learning. And then on the other end, they're now collecting their biometrics between their, their DNA now with the testing, which I will say, Carrie Benninghoff, which is our Speaker of the House of the Republican Caucus, their office emailed me back, and they put the title in the email in September that Ginkgo Bioworks is collecting Pennsylvania students' DNA. So that was them. I had no idea they were doing that, and once I saw that, that made me obviously dig a lot deeper into them.
So I don't know. I guess I want to ask. I guess a health question as to. I've seen. So is this different than? I know it's different because the swabs are longer. The traditional testing where they put the swab up your nose to hit the back of your nasal passage or whatever. I mean, but this, it seems if she's doing it an actual test, I mean, that thing is just barely going in there in her nose. Is that
yeah? So again, it's
effective? I guess.
Which test? Well, I will tell you in the Securities and Exchange information from November, they tell you right out that the test is not accurate. It actually says it in there.
Like Troy said earlier, it's money laundering. You know, when all this was going on, and it not a lot of people know about this. I know because I was in the industry, but the company, the company found a way to bend the rules the same way that these people are. Well, and they said when the DNA reached a real lab, there was people who were swabbing dogs, to get paid for that test because it's per test. They'll pay on a wholesale level. They're probably paying $9-10 for the kit.
Correct.
And the lab raises the prices to the maximum allowed. And this point is whatever the government says, every COVID test is free and we'll cover up to this much. And the lab is going to say, well, if they're covering up to that much, we're going to charge up to that much.
Yeah.
And this is self-administered.
Yeah. And the government actually gave lent Ginkgo Bioworks $1.1 billion for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is just one big giant money laundering circle. And Ginkgo Bioworks keeps changing names and partnering and merging with other companies. So essentially, now there are, not everybody has Ginkgo Bioworks, but like Philadelphia has CHOP, CHOP. So it might be a little bit different depending on what area, but it's the same idea.
And they do this. I mean, I imagine they need parents' consent to test the kids, right?
Yeah, they do.
Well, I will tell you the scary part about this is it's already in school. So you're doing something medical in a school without your parent there. You do have to have consent until it's mandated, right? Just like
but they're incentivizing.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're bribing the parents to try to get them to test their kids weekly.
So why not, right? Like, let's just say well, I don't know how I'm going to make it past this week, but they're offering me X amount. Or is how
you're going to give me an Amazon card or a Target card or something?
Is that how it is? The incentives? Is it like money? Is it a gift card to McDonald's or
gift card? Yeah. I guess I'm not quite sure, but I just know they are allowed to do it. And I will say, with a lot of the research being done on COVID-19. So the NIH, I mean, you can just go to the NIH and put COVID-19 and put education, and it's so many research projects that come up that they're studying our kids and the effects of COVID-19. And they actually asked, it's called the Institutional Review Board, which piggybacks off your consent federal laws, your 360 US 20 or 21 US Code 360 BBB. It piggybacks off of that. So parents, the NIH actually asked the IRB, the Institutional Review Board, to be flexible in the federal law for consent.
Oh, wow.
Man, look, first of all, like looking at the video, are these tests self-administered? Like,
Mhm.
okay.
Just the way
so easy
just
kindergartner can do it.
So self-administered, right? So we're looking at this is not being done by a professional. Obviously, they don't care what the result is. They just care about what's being charged per test.
DNA.
They don't care if you only stuck
Right.
it up. You think a kid's really gonna shove it all the way up their brain? Like, how many times would you, like, you're not wearing green today? Are you gonna pinch yourself? Like, no, right? You'll be like, no, that hurts. So like a kid would be like sticking a Q-tip up their nose and be like, okay, it hurts right there. I'm not gonna go all the way in. You know,
Right.
just so how accurate could that test be? This is
It's not.
bogus. This is like, if
Yeah.
anybody's not seen how bogus this is and how big the money scheme behind it is, you need to see an eye surgeon. I mean, this thing is like,
Yeah.
wow, you know.
Yeah, the amount of money, and Laura Martinez says it right there. The amount of money being made by people off of this freaking pandemic
Mm-hmm.
is incredible.
Well, and
I
we
mean-
keep participating in it. So if we keep participating in all this,
Yep.
You're right.
you know, they have the control over us.
Yeah, that's why some of y'all here don't comply, and this pandemic will disappear in 2 seconds. You'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And think about something too for a second. Just because if a parent doesn't consent, to me that doesn't mean anything, because kids are impressionable, right, at a certain age, and then you have a group of kids that just don't care. So, like, let's take the kids that are impressionable that the parents didn't consent to them getting a test.
Yeah.
Well, if they have a little sniffle, that teacher comes over and says, "Oh, well, let me just give you a test." What's the kid going to do?
Take it.
The kid's going to do
Yeah.
it, right? The kid's going to take it. So the consent to me means nothing. This is why Stacy and I, we talked about a lot about this. This needs to be out of the school. It doesn't belong in the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
None of this stuff
Mhm.
belongs in the school.
Nope.
Right down to politics. And these people don't get it.
It's like
So-
teachers are so overburdened. I don't know about Pennsylvania, but here in Texas, teachers are so overwhelmed with so much that the school districts are having them do. I mean, they get home from school and, it's 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they're still doing work for the next day and for the same day.
Mhm.
And now you want them to be, kind of a healthcare professional and administer this kind of, and it's ridiculous.
And to touch on what you're saying there, Manny, like, so the teachers, and this isn't to chastise them, but they're part of the problem. For the simple fact is they need to stand up to it too. I mean, imagine if the teachers unified and said, "We're not doing this," and just didn't show up to work for one day. What would happen?
They still live in fear, though.
Yeah, here
Live in fear of what, though?
There's a lot of
Losing their
retaliation
job?
that goes on here.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, we're kind of blessed with jobs that we can be more outspoken, and we, I am able to talk freely about certain things, and I don't have a boss over my head. I'm not forced to be vaccinated. I'm not forced to do anything against my will, but I'm very lucky I don't have that. So I know a lot of teachers that I'm working with that are helping me get me information I need, because they are afraid. I mean, some are single parents that they need that income in order to put food on their table for the kids, but they made it like that. And I get what you're saying too, Troy. At some point, they're gonna have to stand up, and they're gonna have to say enough. I don't think we've given them enough security to be able to do that, if that makes sense. Like, we haven't been able to really penetrate the schools to take them down in the way of, really exposing their corruption, and enough parents to back it up. I don't think we have the numbers. And once we have those numbers, you'll see the teachers jump on.
Yeah, I agree
You know,
with that. There's not enough people collectively standing up to it. So until that happens, I feel like this is not going to go away.
no.
Yeah, it's the resistance is going to be there. Yeah, here, I've had a lot of, there are a lot of people who watch my program and they use aliases on YouTube. A lot of them are teachers, people that work for the school board, and they can't speak out at all regarding any of this stuff because they will get retaliated against. So that's why you see all these clever names that come up. I'm not saying here necessarily right now, but in the past, and they've told me, I'm like, I have to use this name because I can't say this or I can't say that. I'll get in trouble, or they'll come at me or something, and that's sad as well.
Yeah, very sad.
Yeah, and we were told that we're gonna have to deal with this till 2025 because the question was proposed. The question was proposed in the meeting, one of the meetings right before they were going to change the health plan, and the solicitor for our district, Tim Sennett, said that it would be till 2025. Now, the guy doesn't give the greatest legal advice, so he could be wrong with that particular year, but I'm guessing he's probably not. I don't know what Stacy's hearing there, but
oh yeah. So with this topic, I still stand firmly with what I was saying earlier. It's called the anti-kickback statute that prohibits the exchange or offer to exchange of anything of value in an effort to induce or reward the referral of business reimbursable by federal healthcare programs. So this law came into place because of all the fraud that was occurring, because these kind of lab tests where somebody grabs a Q-tip, like not a healthcare professional, like I said already, they're just gonna, the rim of their nose. How accurate could that be? It's not gonna be that accurate, but they don't care. They care about the money, because the funds that were granted, the billions that were granted in Pennsylvania, are trickling down to a lot of pockets. Not only the pockets of the people in the district, but the companies who have their salespeople who are not considered salespeople at one point, because at that point it would be they're getting a reward for it. So they got smart with it. Instead of offering a commission, they offer a bracket. Oh, we're going to give a salary because they already know they're going to make a minimum of X amount. But then for all the tests you bring us, we're gonna give you a little raise for everything, a bonus, not a kickback.
All right, what are we looking at here? Ginkgo Bioworks Holdings.
So this is the Ginkgo Bioworks. I want to say it's page 23, but it's right under where there's a couple different pages that says table of contents, and right underneath that it gives a lot of information. So I would just have your people get the link to read through that, because if you really want to know what Ginkgo Bioworks is about, which again is Nate, I hear a couple of those different things, gives a lot of information about the testing not being accurate, that they're doing this for not just COVID-19 but any other future pandemic. It goes on essentially what I don't know the gentleman's name that was talking.
Abel.
What Abel was saying, exactly what he was talking about with that it's just about the money, and it's just kind of going through just to try to get more testing in, and that they may not need the testing, so they have to find a way to make sure they have the testing so they can make the money. It's essentially what it says.
Yeah, like anything that could be reimbursed somehow by the government. That's why the government, look at how smart these people are. They didn't grant the money, they lend the money. The government lend the money. That way it could be reimbursed. Because if it was not a loan, it can't be reimbursed. If it was a grant won't be reimbursed because the grant is given.
Right.
This is being reimbursed to them somehow. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
God, it's. I mean, it's not surprising yet. Still, it's like now we're almost
the
in
not
April of 2022, and we're still talking about this crap.
The not surprising part of it is that it already happened before with other tests, but the light wasn't didn't shine as far as it should have. Like it's repeating itself again, and it's
Mhm.
happening right now. It's the same thing. I'm telling you, it occurred. I know people who went to jail for it. I know people who were my friends that I would talk to that are in jail for the administering the test. They were super happy. They were making a lot of money, and they'll be like, "Hey, come work with me, come do this." And it's like, bro, that's against the law, And all of a sudden, it's like, you see them in a newspaper, like, these people.
I wonder what happened to Joe. He used to talk to me every day. He's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only that, but this is something that's been planned for a while. They didn't just come up with this, over the last year or so. This is something that's been, to me, it's been in the works for a little while.
It's tried. It's like not only the control is probably the bigger part of it, but money making is a big part of it. That's where they get all their money back. Like,
yeah, that's for sure. Money makes the world go round, and everybody sticks their hand out. Everybody wants a piece once they start realizing how easy they can, or how much they can make, I should say.
That's like, I remember like those CGX tests. Like you can try to buy them online. They'll probably be like $18. People were reimbursing $140 for each. That's 100% profit on the actual cost. That's not what was going to the lab. That was what was going to the salesperson who was pushing it. So the labs were making millions.
Oh yeah.
Easy.
Hey Manny, that Sandra Del Rio? Was that her name?
Yes.
That right there, what she says is spot on. Everywhere. It's everywhere.
Texas teachers are overwhelmed with extra responsibilities due to COVID. So I understand their frustration, but as a parent, I see the decline in my child's learning and her discouragement of school.
How many parents can say that?
Wow.
How many parents do you think can say that?
All of them.
Millions, right?
Oh yeah.
That's literally the best statement you could make, and I think most people could get on board with that.
Yeah.
It's very sad, man. It's terrible. Just to the morale of the kids, and it's just really it's ruining a lot of young people.
And the other thing too is I noticed it's kind of like caused a little bit of a divide. Not I don't want to say in every family, but in families it's caused a divide with the kids and the parents, because you have the parent that says, look, I don't want you wearing a mask to school anymore, okay? It's done, it's over with. And you have the kid that says, well, I'm doing it because I want to.
Like, because I don't want to infect Bobby, little Bobby at school or whatever, like.
Well, because they get not by every teacher or every administrator, but they get, I know personally my kids, before I pulled them, they were getting harassed by the administrators and teachers for not wearing a mask, for improperly wearing a mask. And it's like, so a lot of these kids, they don't want to stand out, or stand up to or stand for their rights. They don't know. They've been taught that, to obey and to be quiet for so long that it was, I think, a struggle for a lot of them. When their rights are genuinely violated, they have a hard time speaking up.
Yeah. And I've had parents actually contact me and say, what can I do? Like my son or daughter, still wants to wear a mask. And I'm like, I don't know. That's not really for me to decide. Like, can you give me advice? Can you give me advice or suggestions or whatever? But I think it's a serious problem.
Well, then you got to think about the parents too that allow their child to be masked for months. Like, I get it's not easy to do cyber. I get certain kids don't do well in it. I get, you can't homeschool. I get it. I get everything. But when it comes to your kids, you do anything and everything to fight for them. And,
right.
So they're wondering why their kid won't take the mask off is because they have been conditioned for months. And you, by as a parent not standing up and speaking out about it, and just going along with the flow because you don't want to stick your neck out, you cause your child now to just be complacent.
I mean, at the
Mhm.
beginning of COVID, I think the whole world was stunned by it, and
Mhm.
everybody thought, okay, I'm going to wear a mask. As I'm maybe not 100% of the people, but the majority of people. So that was as adults. Now imagine a child, who's still growing up. Their brain is still, obviously, you still can't make a decision. Your brain hasn't even developed past, um, how can I say, to decision making when you're a child. So you just go based on what you've been told by your teacher or by your friends. Maybe Sally's best friend wears a mask, so I want to wear a mask. If I'm a kid because she wears a mask, and if I don't wear a
Yeah.
mask, people don't want to talk to me. So I'm going to wear a mask because of that. And
Mhm.
it's just a whole different. It's the thing that's out of the parents' control when they're in the school. It's so tough the way they made it, man. It's like they almost have us on checkmate, but this is where we have to fight back on it. I totally agree with it all being a scheme, 100%.
Well, it's about your Agenda 2030 and whatever you want to call it, of just the sustainable development goals that they have. Number 4 is education, and I mean you can go and read the sustainable development goals. Who a lot of our education, like Blackboard, who provides web pages for a lot of school districts and even colleges, donates to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Like they're contributors. So you have all these people all tied and connected, who all have the same agendas. They might not
Mhm.
all be like on the same board, but they're all getting paid in some way to make sure it happens.
Yeah, this is something that, man, we wish it would go away sooner than later, but it doesn't look like it's
No.
I mean, I think at least the ability to give everybody the freedom, which is our country is based on freedom, to give everybody the freedom to make their own decision, because life is based on free will. Uh, but when they take that away, then there's a problem.
Well,
Go ahead, Stacey.
I'm sorry. I was said they can't take that away from you. You can you still have that choice.
Mhm.
If you say they can take that away from you, then you give them the power.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that video? This was a couple of weeks ago, last month, and I forget where. I want to say Italy or Paris, where the kids were. There was an announcement: "Hey, you're gonna have to wear your mask
Yeah.
anymore. You can take it off." And they tore it off, and all the kids were jumping around celebrating. I don't know if that was staged or not. It looked pretty sincere, but
I mean, if you
that was
notice,
awesome to watch that.
like here in Texas, in the school district here, there's still football games, there's still basketball games. Athletes, they're not wearing, a mask. So, like, someone mentioned earlier, the division is being created because some people are still being tricked into the fear. But it's like how come everybody else isn't sick? Like everybody who plays
Mhm.
football isn't sick. How come when you go to the cafeteria and eat and sit next to each other, nobody gets sick?
Right.
Yeah, or your sporting events, pro sports. I mean,
Yeah.
I know they say you're supposed to wear them, but you look at the crowds and either nobody's wearing them or half are wearing them, and there are no super spreader events at all. There haven't been.
Well, they proved that masks don't work. I mean, they've
Yeah.
had study after study after study, during flu season years ago. I mean, you go on the NIH and read about it.
Wow.
And again, it's your choice. It's your choice to do whatever you want with your body, your child. It should never be forced, ever.
Yeah.
And they should never threaten you and use harassment to get you to comply.
Right.
Fear gets you whatever you want.
Mhm.
If you can put fear into somebody,
Oh yeah.
you can pretty much own that person.
I mean, that's
If-
how
if
the
you
old
can-
kingdoms would rule,
Mhm.
So it's the same thing now, like rule with fear. And I'm
Well,
the protector.
Well, it is a choice, fire, water, but I mean, they put that fear. They do put that fear out there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They do. So it's your choice, but for fear, you choose to put it on. And I don't know. The other day, I had to spray paint some white spray paint at my sister's house, and I had one of those N95s on. I put it on all the way, the bottom strap, the top strap, sprayed it, and boom! I mean, right away, I was breathing that spray. I mean, it's like I didn't have a mask on at all.
Mhm.
It's like, man, that doesn't work very well now, does it? And I can imagine. I think I'm sure spray paint particles are bigger than the particles that come out of your mouth and things like that. But that did not give me a good feeling at all. Like, just emphasize that, this what is this doing? Nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah, and then especially the cloth mask that you make at home, or you're buying at Old Navy to put on your face is definitely. I mean, it's just causing that moisture is sitting on your mouth and you're breathing that in your lungs. It's shown study after study that it does more harm than good. And especially
about
when you're sick and you have a virus, you want to expel that. You want to get that out of your system.
What about the kids that were masked outside in 80-degree temperatures? They were forced to play. If they had recess, they had to play outside with a mask on.
When it's 114 degrees out here.
It's insane to me to know that, that this stuff was going on. So
look, the education system, history, all that is always going to go over to where the money is, So the people with the money are the ones who were saying and dictating the story in this side. Imagine if somebody was if the government was rewarding people to not wear a mask. Parents, if you guys don't take your test and you don't wear a mask, we're going to reward you with a gift card. Then it would be the opposite.
Yeah. With that, I think her name was Jamie. She just said.
Oh, right here, yeah.
Yeah, that's the point, is that they actually are doing this so every agenda that they have, whether it's with the CRT or your comprehensive sexual education or your masking or your testing, there's always more than one agenda that they have with that. There's always more than one plan. So by them masking your child, it gets them compliant, just like we have in Pennsylvania. It's called PBIS, and it's a positive behavior program. So as long as you're wearing your mask, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You get supported with just like you were talking
a reward system.
Correct. Yeah. So what they do is, now they've taught your kid to be compliant. Your kid now develops a phobia because of wearing a mask and is afraid to talk to people, thinks everyone else is going to make them sick. Well, now let's bring trauma-informed training in to the teachers. So then now we need more psychologists, because all these kids now have anxiety. They're afraid to talk to other people. So now we can get into more of their mental state. And if your child, is mentally malleable, they can put in whatever they want in their head. So let's bring in transgender stuff. So if you see, there's like this whole big, everything connects to everything else. And it's, I'm not opposed to a child getting help in school at all. Like, I think there are kids that don't have that at home that may need it. Absolutely. But when you have a blanket, every child has trauma in their life, and every parent can't take care of them, that's an issue.
Yeah, that's for dang sure. My daughter has, let's see, that's the one we were from Jamie. It's been 2 years. It's still based on fear. Still your choice, but forced on you by fear. I second that, Sandra. Yes, so you're comparing a chemical to a virus. That was just my comparison. That's all.
Well, the chemical is actually bigger. It's a bigger molecule than the virus. So if that bigger molecule is getting into that mask, then a smaller virus is definitely going to get into it.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. And that was an N95, and I was paranoid about breathing the paint. So I made sure everything was not creased and everything was nice on my skin. And all right, and I couldn't breathe too well. And as soon as you hit that spray, and it was easy. It didn't even take long. Every doctor knows masks don't work, but they won't admit it. My dad was a doctor. I've had a physician tell me that. Said, it's not going to work.
My doctor said, the masks don't work, and I told her, I said, we're not getting the vaccine, and she said, fine by me. She actually said, you can ask me whatever I want, but I don't have transparency with it. She said, so I don't. She's like, you probably know more than I do.
This disease came to us with no forewarning or instruction with what to do or how to prepare. So I believe that we were given what they believe was safety. And as we went along, we learned more. It seemed like we learned more, but nothing was changing. The restrictions got worse.
or just everything that was like this, and then it's like, oh no, never mind, and then it's like, no, you got to do this, and then it's like, no, never mind, that's incorrect. So like the flip flopping, like how come in Texas there's the mandates were lifted. I haven't been sick a single time, but in other states it's like you have to, because in Texas it doesn't exist.
Well, they flip flop the phone numbers for everything. So, in Allegheny County, I will tell you, I looked last week. We have one COVID-19 case, one, but we have a bunch of flu now. So it like flip flops.
Yeah.
So it's a numbers game, just like it's a number game with money. It's a number of games with, how many students they can get to test. It's just all about a big number game and how they can manipulate it.
Yeah, Sandra, whether or not it was intentionally done, yeah, well, that's a whole other discussion.
It's a whole new podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole
right.
All right. Troy, what else are we doing here today? We wanted to discuss someone, didn't we?
Yeah. So Stacy and I, she's been real helpful with trying to uncover some things with our current superintendent, who was recruited from California. And in November, he had and you know what, the general consensus from, people that hunt, here in Pennsylvania, it was just a money grab, but our superintendent had a gun charge. He was cited for having a loaded rifle in the back of his vehicle with a live round in the chamber and the safety off.
Whoops.
In his vehicle. Okay. Now imagine a scenario where he drives off like that, the gun goes off, maybe injures him or injures somebody else, right? So he gets cited for it. Here's the issue. The issue is that this guy has been illegally masking our kids for 2 years. And he should have told the community, I think, about the charge. So fast forward to November or February, it was discovered that this happened in November. So we reached out to a couple board members, and of course they ignored it. So it got put on social media, okay? And he found out that it was put on social media. Now, I sent you a copy of his statement, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
Can you put the statement up? And
that's the one he put out to the news covered.
So he put one out to the district, right? And the news covered it. Mm-hmm. And basically, he said he was racially profiled. Okay, that's a big problem.
Oh boy.
Now, the problem that I had with it was the fact that he put it out before the board actually contacted the game commission, because I actually contacted the game commission and I talked to the supervisor of the officer that cited him. And of course, he was basically like, we're not going to get into a pissing match with this guy. He's like, we're not going to, if we say one thing, then it's going to come back, something else. If he wants to say that he was racially profiled, that's on him. But the board, according to the state, nobody from the board or the district contacted them to see if his story was actually lined up with what happened. So they let this guy put this out to the community and almost like, okay, he was racially profiled, and that's why he got basically he made it sound like he got cited because he was black,
because of his race,
right?
So a crime is a crime, right? Like people get cited with crimes on a daily basis regardless of race.
Right. So he had so you can see that there, and then so he did an interview with the local media, on Friday, February 18th. Okay. And he talked about his statement that he put out.
Which clip is that? Is that just the one where he's by himself?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to read you what he said. He said he pled guilty to it. Well, originally he pled not guilty to it, by the way. And then he pled guilty. He doesn't have a valid driver's license for Pennsylvania. He actually has a Maryland license, and he got a non-Pennsylvania hunting license. But at any rate, he said Robert said he does not know why he was questioned or if anyone else was questioned by the warden about activities on the gun range, but he wonders if race may have played a part. Although I may not appear to be the type of man who enjoys deer season in Pennsylvania, I've been hunting for more than 20 years. Okay, well, if you've been hunting for more than 20 years, you should know that you don't put a loaded gun with a live round in the chamber with the safety off in the back of your vehicle, right?
Yeah, you think you would know the rules, the
Right.
protocol. Yeah.
He says, I would never presume to know what the officer's intent was. And I don't want those who support me to vilify an officer who essentially was doing his job. But I struggled in the days and weeks after the incident and asked myself that question. If I wasn't black, would I have been treated any differently? So here's a guy that got cited in November, but he struggled with it for days and weeks, but never told anybody.
Mm.
And then he puts a statement out only because we put it on social media.
Discovered it. No.
Yeah.
That we discovered it. So fast forward a little bit, we brought it up at a school board meeting, and we brought up all of this and a couple other things. One was the fact that he stated he was born in the United States, but yet he, in his bio, in an interview he did with a university, he stated that he was born in Guyana and that his parents migrated over here in the late, well, I think he said his father migrated over here in the late 80s and his mom in the early 2000s. And that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But we talked about the issue of you're a sitting superintendent on one of the was one of the best school districts in this county, and you just accuse an officer who of citing you because you were a person of color, and so we took offense to that because nobody confirmed that what he said was actually true. So we had the meeting, we discussed all this stuff, and then this past Monday we had a board meeting, but they suspended public comment, so we were not allowed to speak. And then if you can play that video, he puts this statement out on his Instagram page, and he's clearly talking about us.
All right, here, let's play this real quick.
It's Move the Ball Monday, and I've been asked to share my thought on the ball. Here's what I want you to think about. When people ask your friends or family members or those individuals who've known you for a long time, how do you show up in the face of challenges and controversy? I wonder what they will say about you. Here's what people will say about me: that I'm resilient, that I can take it on the chin, and I'll keep it moving. Speaking of moving, here's what I want you to think about moving on this Move the Ball Monday. I want you to consider why it's important for you to say enough is enough about something that has been attacking you either physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or all of the above. Recently, I've experienced some attacks against my professional pursuit that are grounded in racist, prejudicial, and xenophobic ideas. And I know that I'm not the only one sitting in this position. If that's where you're sitting, I want you to take action against it. Not to reciprocate the actions that have been levied against you, but I want you to think about two things. One, what is the experience of those individuals who are the attackers? What are they trying to get from their actions? And then two, to make sure that you get in a space whereby you're connecting with friends, with family, or with the community and say, enough is enough. And I cannot do this alone. I need you to join me in fighting against these attacks.
Well, there you go.
The attackers.
The attackers, right? I mean,
I could definitely see what is trying to be brought to light here is that, for one, transparency should be a key. If nobody had uncovered any of this, he would have never spoken about it. If he's so confident about I was racially profiled, he would have brought that up on day one, not on day when he got discovered. The whole loaded rifle thing, he could have told everybody, like, hey, you know what? I got cited for this. This is what's happening. But instead, he chose to like just hide it because for whatever reason,
Yeah, it's yet another someone who's using the victim card.
It's the easiest card to use.
We've got some people down here in South Texas that use that on a regular basis, and it's they're very successful with it. Troy knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Well, here's the problem I find with all this. So we can kind of squash his little narrative because when he was hired or recruited or whatever he was back in 2020, if the color of his skin was an issue, it would have been an issue then.
Yeah.
It wasn't an issue, and it isn't an issue now.
Yeah.
The issue is that he's not transparent like he says he is. He doesn't follow the law like he says he does. And then I think what makes matters worse, and I think that Stacy, anybody listening, and any other parent in any city or state, these people have not apologized for what they've done to our kids for the last 2 years. And then to come out with a statement like that to accuse people of attacking you, like it's poor. It's not something that he should be doing. It's a bad look for the district. And what do kids think when they see that? What are students going to think when they see that? When they see this guy basically attacking the parents that pay your salary, that support the community, that support the school district. Like, I don't know. It's bad. It's to me, it's bad. It's really bad.
I just think like,
it's embarrassing too.
This guy is sitting here making a video talking about racial profile and how his life might have changed because of it, without thinking about all the kids that are under his wing, and all their life has been changing for the past 2 years because of laws that he could stand up to, maybe not make a difference, but just standing up to it would at least show that, hey, I'm here for them. I'm not here just for me. But as soon as there's an allegation brought up against him, he pops up and starts
the race card,
throwing all the cards he can. Just, you know what? I'm a hunter. No, you know what? I am a minority. No, you know what? I'm from California. No, you know what? But whatever happened to, like, this is my district. This is what I believe, and this is what should be done. And obviously he's not one who is on the parent side, because we wouldn't be having this conversation right now if he was one to want to hear your concerns. Has he made that effort to listen to concerns, or does he just blow that off, or
he mostly blows it off? He mostly blows it off. I mean, Manny has sat in on some of our board meetings and streamed them live. I mean, he can attest to the fact that there's been parents that have literally, mothers that have stood there crying, like, are you guys going to answer anything, any reaction? And they just all sit there and they say nothing.
Yep.
And Sandra,
Yeah,
no, I'm not
Sandra,
racist.
he's not racist at all.
What
It's not like
what
that.
I mean by that, I want to clarify is we were one of the best school districts, but now they're $6.5 million in debt. They've had a
Dang.
268 student reduction in enrollment, and they're short staffed, but that's everywhere. And the test scores were one of the worst. We're one of the worst for test scores in the district.
Well,
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by we are no longer, and we were the last school district to get rid of masks. The last. We have districts that are worse than us with leadership, and they were out of masks before we were. So the debt, $6.5 million, 268 less students,
Wow.
Well,
and
I was going to
so
say, to add to what Troy's talking about too, is that, it's not necessarily, we want any parent in any district wants whoever's the most qualified and the best that will be there for their children. I don't care what color you are, what gender
Nope.
you are, just as long as you do what's right by my kids, you respect me as a parent. That's what I want to see. But when you have big money and big agendas talking about diversifying the educator pipeline and incentivizing people of color, and they actually say that, to come into these school districts in these superintendent positions, in teacher positions, are we bringing the most qualified who's doing right by the kids, or are we bringing it in because money's backing them? And that goes into what Troy found about the recruiting of certain school districts. Like, they actually hire people to recruit to fit these different superintendents, essentially do their, we'll say, bidding into these schools. So, they want to bring in big renovations. They want to hide ESSER fund money. They want to bring testing in. They want to bring, the research for tracking through the apps. They want to bring all that in. So they're looking for the people that are going to do that. They're not looking for the people that are qualified.
On normal, go ahead, Troy.
I was just going to say, you get just real quick, Manny, if you pull up Ray and Associates,
That email I sent you.
just pull up Ray and Associates, and you'll go to when you see on their page, you'll see what they're about. If you could pull it up, and then I just wanted to say that real quick.
Okay, on a normal recruiting fee, you're talking about if they're hiring recruiters, like outsourcing it, usually it's 18 to 20% that the recruiting agency is getting of the total salary of this candidate, the annual salary. So let's just say, for example, it's $100,000 a year. A recruiter or the recruiting agency would get paid 20% of that, which is $20,000 for finding the right candidate. Their job is to sell the candidate. So it's another money game here. That's what I had to say about the whole recruiting thing.
$20,000, Abel. That $20,000 our district paid this company to recruit this guy. But now we found out something actually a little more interesting. So there was a second company involved in the vetting of him. And so what Ray and Associates told us is that the company first screened Dr. Ian Roberts and then said to Ray and Associates, okay, here's a guy that we screened. So they basically were like the running back, right? They took it home. They took this to the house. So, but when I asked them who the company was, the girl was like, she's like, she couldn't tell me. Like, how do you not know who it is?
They just pass right by. I know. I have a little recruiting agency, so I know eurekaplacement.com, and that's the way recruiting works. And it's a sad situation because everybody's just getting a little piece, bro. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Some will pass the screening. Like, hey, I know this guy, because they already know they're gonna get paid the 20%. The 20%. Well, I'll give you 5%. I'll give you 5%. I keep 10%. Even a little 5%, making $5,000 off of something like this for free, bro. It's like no effort.
I know.
Yeah,
Stacy, are you doing that? Are you doing that, Stacy?
Oh, sure. I guess. Well, I can explain how I found it. Which
Well, I want you to take them to the section where it shows the
No.
equity, the diversion, or the diversity. I mean, sorry.
Oh, this was the
like,
well, when you told me, because Troy and I were talking, and he said that he found out that the superintendent got recruited. So I said, well, let me see what I can find. I'm not going to lie. I have no idea how I found this. I was looking on Mill Creek school board information, and I clicked in it on some link. I don't even know how I got to it, but it pulled up Anchorage, Alaska's a school board's policy. And if you scroll down, you can see Mill Creek's in there. There's a couple Pennsylvania schools, which is, again, this is on an Alaskan school district's site. But it goes over through all the information. There it is, the inclusion, equity, and elimination of institutional racism, which is your CRT, your DEI, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's their process. So they're finding people that are going to push the narrative, and they're going to push your agendas to educate your CRT, your CSE, DEI, whatever acronym you want to call what's going on right now. They are recruiting them not based off their merit, but based off if they will push this. And they're incentivizing them. They're paying off student loans. They're giving them housing, more time off. And it says it right in the
whole
education
package
language. Yeah. Like, it's not something I'm making up out of the, I mean, you read it yourself.
Right.
So I'm sure with this guy, not only did they offer him an X amount of money per year, but they also paid his relocation.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, and he comes with a great resume too, because the first thing I thought of when Troy and Poncho were telling me about their superintendent, I was like, he's way overqualified to be a superintendent in Erie. Like, it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense
on paper.
Yeah. So he sounds
he
great. He seems like he's great, but just like what Troy was saying and what Manny was saying, like, it should be about the kids. So as he's answering the information, he should be talking about the kids. Like, it should be, this is how it affected the kids. This is why I'm so sorry. I did not want, it to be about them or affect them in any way. And I take full responsibility, but it was everybody else's fault.
I just know if I was a superintendent, I would not have put that video out that he put out on Instagram. But
yeah, and what about the next video? He's talking about CRT in that one, isn't it? A CRT discussion?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Oops. Oops. Hold on.
All right. Hey guys, I have to go.
Thank you, Stacy.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll talk to you guys soon. Yeah, I didn't leave work yet, so.
Oh
I'm
man. Okay.
running late, so.
I wish I got paid to be on here.
No, I'm not kidding. Trust me, I'm not
No, I'm kidding.
I'm just messing with you. All right, it was nice talking to you guys.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thanks, Stacy. Manny, I think Abel wants you to pay him.
Oh yeah, Manny. Manny pays me with burgers, man. Burgers are good, man. That's all I ask.
Well, there's a cash app there. If somebody wants to drop a few dimes in there for Abel, please.
Do they still have them dollar burgers or no?
Dollar burgers somewhere, yeah. Do you want to see this? Do you want to play this video?
Well, before we do it, I have to state something, dude, because it's just becoming a growing issue in the country where, racism still gets thrown around and minorities and all this, at one point the country has been more united than ever at one point, and they had to find a different way to divide, and it's going according to plan. The new minority is actually people with common sense, because all the people with common sense, we're the ones who are a minority now. And then everybody else is out there, so they don't care about anything. They just say, "Hey, man, that guy's too. He kind of knows what's going on. Like, push him to the side. We don't want to hear his story." So it's not even about skin color and all this crap that they still throw out, like this dude about what if I was a different skin color? Would you still have find me? I'm sure he would have gotten a fine. A fine is a fine, bro. Like, come on.
1,000. They gave out 1,000 citations. The game warden told me, in that area, since hunting season started in November. And what is it, just a few weeks? So clearly it wasn't because of the color of his skin.
Yeah.
And the problem is, here's the problem: you can't even talk about it, because the moment you do, you got people thinking you're racist.
Mhm.
You just can't say anything anymore. Like it's almost like people silent if they're not completely blocking you from like social media where you can't speak, they block you by accusing you of being something that you're not. And I'm not gonna defend myself to anybody to say, I'm not this, I'm not that, this is why. Um, so
There'll
I
be
don't
no
know.
reason for you to have to, because it's not necessary. But for
Right.
somebody who's throwing it out there, it's only obvious, bro. It's like if I go somewhere and I say, well, it's because of my skin color. Like, no, man. The opportunities I've built, I don't care what skin color I am, what physique I am, what gender I am. Like, it's ultimately up to the person. If I fuck up, I'm sorry, I rarely use it, right? The F word. If I F up, it's not, I didn't F up because of my skin color. I say, man, you know what? I made the wrong decision. I had a loaded rifle on the back of the truck. I had just shot a buck, and it is what it is. All I can say is, all you hunters out there, please make sure your rifle is not loaded, because it's against the
Right.
law.
Just
And
come
that's
out
what,
with it. Come out, say, hey, look,
yeah,
this happened Saturday, all right? Let me tell you what happened. And then just say it. I mean, I think it
Well, the
does a
thing,
lot more for your integrity to come out with stuff instead of trying to hush it up.
yeah, and then when it is brought to light, you right away go to the race card.
yeah,
Like that, like instead of just saying, you know what, I should have came forward with it. I mean, we had an incident here where the same situation, somebody put a loaded rifle, it got caught in the seatbelt. It had a live round in the chamber, no safety on, got caught in the seatbelt, went off and shot the dad. The
Ugh.
father got shot.
Hmm.
So, I mean, and here's like how I explained to someone the other day. So let's say that he doesn't get cited, right? The rifle's in the vehicle, loaded, no safety, live round in the chamber.
Mhm.
The gun goes off. Somebody gets hurt. Somebody gets killed. What are people going to say then? Oh, the game warden didn't do his job.
right.
Yep. Yep.
So the game warden is pinned into a corner
Yep.
because if they cite the guy, it's because of the color of his skin.
Yep.
If they don't do anything, oh, the game warden, it's their fault. This is the blood on their hands. Like,
The classic damned if you do, damned if you don't.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, the old saying was "man up," but now I don't even
Mhm.
know if we can say "man up" anymore.
No,
Like, man up to what it is, and that was it. That how hard he could have been an example to everybody in the community and said, "Hey, make sure you don't do this, because the wardens out here, they're so responsible and they do their job so good that even the superintendent gets cited."
yeah.
Instead, it's like, no, blah 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 blah.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to keep going with this video, or do you want to? What do you want to do,
No, go
Troy?
ahead. Go ahead.
Totally. Just a couple of minutes. Not even 2 minutes.
There's no audio.
You know,
No audio. Yeah.
no audio. You got the sound, or you don't have the sound?
No sound.
All right. Hold on. Hold on. Try this again. Is it lively? Yeah, there it is.
Is similar to culturally
There you go.
leadership.
Yeah, start over.
Dr. Roberts, the entire nation is talking critical race theory. I am most interested in your perspective and how it differs or is similar to culturally responsive leadership.
Thank you, Dr. Price. Yes, and while that is true that the entire nation is not only enthralled by, but fascinated around this topic of critical race theory, some of the stakeholders in our communities who it impacts the most, our teachers, our school leaders, our district leaders, are the ones who've shared multiple perspectives, and most of which I support and am aligned with. And that is, critical race theory is an important conversation for us to have, but it's important as well for every single person who wants to talk about it, who wants to have discussions around it, become more informed and more aware. If we want to address the topic of critical race theory, it's important for us to build on a practice that many school and district leaders have started over the last few years, and that is the discussion around culturally responsive pedagogy and culturally responsive leadership. Essentially, culturally responsive pedagogy and leadership allows us to anchor our daily practices in becoming more aware of not only our own lived experiences and those biases that we may bring into any situation, but becoming aware of the biases, lived experiences, culture, and ethnic practices of other groups, individuals with whom we have not shared those experiences. And once we become aware of ours as well as theirs, then it increases our empathy muscles to be able to acknowledge where those individuals are coming from so we can better support them and become tightly aligned in order for us to really support our students.
Important work.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't prepared at all, was it?
Right.
Totally not scripted.
So are they? How is that CRT going over there? That's something that they're still wanting to push, or
Well,
some educators want to teach it still or talk about it.
I don't think that. I mean, I don't think that they do here, but I mean, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with it. To be honest with you, I feel like it's probably going to end up here. If you go to he's a business partner or co-founder of Lively Paradox, and if you kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into that, you'll kind of see what they're about. Can you get on your Twitter? Do you have Twitter, Manny?
Yeah.
Can you go to her page, her Twitter feed, that Dr. Nicole Price? I just want you to I tried to get I can't get into mine for some reason, but I want you to go to her page and find the tweet where her and I actually had dialogue back and forth together. And it's disturbing the things that she said to me.
I just wonder, while Manny looks that up, critical race theory. I hadn't heard of this till maybe 8-9 months ago. Well, actually, Manny and Bam ones. I didn't even know this kind of stuff existed. I mean, would critical race theory look different if the skin color on the individuals on the screen right now was different? Like, would it just be racist? Like, let's just say if it was two white people talking about them being judged by their skin color, would it look different? You don't think? I mean, people would just be like, man, they're racist, that's why they do this kind of stuff. I don't understand. I still cannot understand the whole racism narrative that people try to push nowadays in such a modern world. Like,
I don't either, but so some of the things that I've kind of looked into about it, one of the things that I didn't like is that in the school setting you have a kid, a white boy, and then you have someone of color, and basically the child of color feels that their friend is their oppressor. You know what I mean? Like, they feel like they're. Does that make sense? Like what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and I don't know why they've. I've never, like I said, I grew up in Chicago, just big melting pot. And growing up, as I got into the workforce, you work with mostly whites. My neighborhood was changing from mostly Latino and black to white, predominant, not strictly, but. And I never experienced any racism. I really didn't. Maybe I'm lucky that way. I don't know. But in Chicago, I just never did. So I don't get it when people just throw that around like, before. Yeah, it would get thrown around when it actually happened, something. But now they want to throw that out for anything. Use it.
Right.
I mean, I just wish my bills could take that excuse. Like if I said, well, it's because of my skin color that you guys are charging me more this month. Like there's no excuses to where you get in life. If you want to make an excuse about it's just an excuse, bro. And that goes universally, I haven't heard a colored or a minority person talk about race theory when they're millionaires and close to being billionaires. They don't say, well, I only made it here because of this. Like,
where am I looking for this video?
Wow, this is a whole different topic.
Is it video or is it just a discussion on?
No, so she made a tweet. You'll have to go back into February, sometime, and you'll see. I tried to get it. I don't know why I can't get into.
I mean, why is this a
Like-
thing? I was still kind of pissed off, bro, about Aunt Jemima going away. Nobody stood up for that one.
Yeah, no, and it's oh yeah, the racism disappeared because we got rid of Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben.
Doesn't make sense, no.
But Colonel Sanders is still on a bucket of chicken. Let's see, I thought it was one of these. I'll debate you on CRT. That's not you, right?
And I guess we have to try to stick to the topic. The topic is not changing over to a racial thing, but it's changing over to the beliefs that the superintendent of the school district try to use this card, and I guess he's pushing the CRT movement, and he's representing kids of all colors,
Right.
and that's how it's supposed to be universally. It's like you represent this district, don't
Right. And the thing is that, so like you've this is kind of my angle on it. So you've disrespected the parents, you've taken away our rights and our ability to make decisions for them, right? So we're angry at you. We're angry with you for what you've done. So when we come at you with something, why don't you say, you know what? I've really upset these parents. I have maybe stepped on their toes. I have disrespected them, and I apologize. Instead, you say, we're coming at you because of the color of your skin. That's not cool. It's not true, and it's not cool.
I heard him say the division words where he said ours and theirs. He's created a division by using those words, ours and theirs.
You can't find it, Manny?
No, I started on the 17th. Let me go the opposite way. Because before I knew it, I was already in December.
She made a reference to UPS or USPS misdelivering a package to her house, and the package was supposed to go to her neighbor who was white.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that.
So she said she wasn't going to return the package there because she didn't want to say her name over here. Do you get where I'm going with it?
That doesn't.
She was basically saying that if she would have went over to her white neighbor's house with her package and said, "Hey, you left this," she was basically saying that the white people were going to murder her for stealing her package. That's what she was getting at.
The thing about like this kind of thinking is thinking that they're putting themselves into. Like this is a thinking that your own, I don't even like say own people, but the own people that you side with are putting in your brain. And that's
I wish I
nuts.
could find that.
Like I'm not gonna let my neighbors know the package got over here because of my skin color. Like,
unless she deleted it.
I mean, if it was that bad, would she even live in that neighborhood? Yeah,
She probably did delete it.
yeah, because half of this stuff doesn't make sense, dude. Half of these people are on autopilot all their life.
Either that or she blocked me, Manny. People like to do that to me.
You don't say. I thought it was only South Texas that did that.
People hate to hear the truth.
So then the lady interviewing the superintendent basically shares views with him. He probably wouldn't go on somebody who opposes his views and talk about how he feels. So that just lets you know that he wouldn't talk to parents who oppose his views either. He's not willing to hear a parent who has different views. He just wants his views to be heard.
Right. Yeah, I can't find it here.
Yeah, we're ready February 17th. Nope. Nope. Yeah, and I do remember that when you brought that up at the time, I do remember you being a little hot about that. And yeah, I bet you she deleted it.
She had to have. She had to have, because
I mean, sounds of it, they delete anything that's not
Oh, here it is. Found it.
Oh wow.
USP
Did you find it?
delivered a neighbor's package to my house, and why I don't want to take it down there? Question mark. Be just my luck. They fearful for their lives.
Come on.
Ain't gonna be no say her name over here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a lady that is partners with our superintendent. They're co-founders. They wrote a book together, and you can see the dialogue there. Like what I said to her. Like, what did I say anything inappropriate to her?
Fearful because we're a kind human being and return. Oh, you were a kind human being and return something that belonged to them. I'm not sure I'm following what you're saying. What exactly do you educate people in? That
Right.
everyone is racist? Ever think
Exactly.
that a lot of people would be grateful of such a kind act? Of course.
Right.
And now
Of
she wants to educate him. Here's a book so you can educate yourself.
Yeah, let me go and spend my next 3 days reading a book I don't care to read because
And
common
then
sense.
What did I say to her? What was my?
Troy said, I don't need to
What's
read
my
a book to know your comment was ignorant, distasteful, and racially charged. You're part of the problem, not a solution. Your company or book is gimmicky. Maybe you should have just taken the misdelivered package over instead of hopping on Twitter for attention. And then she just laughed. She put giggles.
But then she referenced me to mental health. Did you see that? She actually gave me the mental health line phone number.
Where was that at? I guess it's not there, right?
Yep. Let me see.
Okay, so there's more comments there.
Who hurt you? Try 1-800-273-8255.
Yeah,
Come on.
she gave me the mental health phone number.
How does that make a human any better, bro?
Like, I mean, is it me or is this a problem?
It's a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely
a problem. It's a big problem. And these are the kind of people that are being infiltrated into our school. And not just our school, but everywhere. And it's white people too. I mean, we had that. I saw that one thing on Fox News, and I literally watched it for like 2 seconds, and I turned it off. Where they interviewed that teacher, and she said that math was racist.
Oh yeah.
Like, I was like, what? How is math racist? I didn't even want to listen to it because I'm like, these people can literally dumb you down and make you feel like you're stupid.
Like I said, bro, the new minority is common sense. You know, we got common
mean,
sense here, the new minority. Welcome.
Yeah, exactly right. It's not even funny. It's so ridiculous. It's not even funny. It's more like.
And here it is at the end. And here it is at the end of the day, Manny. If I was walking down the street and I saw Dr. Ian Roberts getting jumped, what would I do? I'd go over there and give that guy a hand.
Jump in, yeah.
I would jump in there and help that guy any day of the week. So, you know, it doesn't, but I don't have to like what he's about. I don't have to like what he's trying to do. But if he needs me, he needs my help, I'm going to be there to help him out.
If you got a package from him, you guys are next door neighbors, would you take it back to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Absolutely.
This lady's crazy, man. Shit.
I know.
Yeah, it's and you know, that's one problem that I've noticed going on. You know, all these attacks happening, like mainly in New York City. It's people just getting randomly attacked. And like nobody's jumping in to help. No, everybody just can just walk by and watch or cross the street because they see somebody getting beat up over there or whatever the case is, but nobody's anymore is jumping in to help each other. You know, I remember a bunch of decades ago, different time, man. It's just different now. I don't know how to explain it.
I think a growing problem right now that is occurring, it has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with the people who are getting in front of cameras and the information they're putting out. And just because, let's say, somebody likes what I say today, so now they're following me, and then they believe me so far, and then I say, well, you know, because I'm brown, I got arrested. You know, I was drunk and high, and I hit a stop sign, ran over a lady, and I got arrested. And people are still going to stand up for me and say, yeah, it's because of skin color.
Here, this is your comment right here, Troy. Just place the damn package on the porch and go about your way. Simple as that.
It's that simple.
Right?
You like it's just that simple.
If
Like,
you don't
you
want to go
gotta get
that
on-
far, you just write return on
right.
it. Call UPS, tell them to pick it up.
You have to get on Twitter and accuse your neighbor
Come
of
on.
basically saying, "Oh, if I take their package to them, they're gonna kill me." Come on, like this. What's sad is these people actually think this. Like, do I think she did it for attention? Yeah, but I also believe that she truly believes that would happen to her. You know, I don't fear anybody. You know
I
what I
would
mean?
hate. I would hate
deliver-
to believe that she was actually afraid. It was. I took it as more as race baiting to get somebody into a conversation and to engage and try to engage. But you pretty much shut her up right there. Like, what was she going to come back with?
Well, not only that I shut her up, but I actually made her look worse because she took that and then turned it into, she was basically making fun of people with mental health issues.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And mental health right now is legitimately a serious problem.
Yeah, it's a real friggin' thing.
It's a real problem. So she was mocking mentally mentally handicapped or whatever you want to say people. And then on the other side of it, she was basically trying to say that, she didn't want to return the package because her neighbor is racist. So,
how does that help anything? How does that help evolving as humankind?
If anything, she could have used that situation to say, hey, just want to bring this over. Somebody put it on my doorstep and maybe show the guy that she's a nice person and not add the freaking race factor into it, but just try to eliminate it. I don't know. She's just.
I mean, maybe like Troy said, why post it on Twitter? Like, if an issue really exists, because we're not going to dumb down and say racism doesn't exist. It does. Not as big as they say it does, right? But let's just say she had a racist neighbor, she didn't have to go on Twitter and say all that. I mean, that only adds fire to the wood to the fire.
If she's got a racist neighbor, you know what? Be the bigger person. Say you can just go over there and take the box, knock on the door, say, hey, this was at my place. I brought it over to you. Just so you know.
She feels that threatened about it. She can even have an officer escort her, or an officer can pick it up and take it next door, or just have UPS pick it up the next day.
Yeah.
Not say, hey, I'm starting a movement because of racial profiling and all this is going on, and just throw more wood into a fire. You're not gonna stop the fire that way. You're just pissing off other people who are gonna believe you.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I believe in bringing people together. You know what I mean? Like, there's not enough of that. Not just in our communities, but in the world, right?
Yeah.
Bringing people together, to me, is important. And that isn't bringing people together. Like,
no,
she caused division. I don't know her.
Yeah.
I'll never see her in real life ever, but she caused a division between her and I because what she said I didn't agree with, and I don't believe to be true, and she just caused an unnecessary divide between her neighbor and herself and me and people that think like me and herself.
Yeah.
And mentally, what was that word?
Maybe she needs to call that
mental
phone number that she gave you. I think she needs to call it.
What she could have said, maybe if she was going to post that, and I said what I said, maybe she could have said, you know what, you're right. I was probably wrong for saying this, and I should have taken it over to my neighbor, or like Abel said, call UPS and be like, hey, you misdelivered a package. Can you come get it? I'm childish and I'm insecure and I'm racist and I don't want to take this over to my my neighbor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Because there's neighbors of the same skin color that hate each other. And they'll use any excuse, oh, he hates me because I have a better car, or he hates me because I don't, whatever the heck the case is. So obviously, it's not, it could be any skin color that she might not want to interact with the neighbor. It's not because of the skin color, but she just doesn't want to interact with them. The proper thing to do is just call UPS, pick up your package,
The
and not
proper
post
thing
on
is
it
the
on Twitter.
proper thing to do would just take the friggin' package, walk next door, drop it off. You don't even got to ring the damn doorbell. Just drop it off and go on with your life, and that's it. Well, you know,
And post on Twitter is like just stirring the pot, like I said, bro.
Yeah. Or what if none of that ever happened? What if none of that even happened?
Yeah.
What if there really wasn't a package that was misdelivered to her house?
She just thought
What if
about
she
it.
doesn't? What if she doesn't even have neighbors? She could live on 200 acres of land for all we know.
right?
What if she just put that on there to get what she got out of me?
A reaction.
Oh, look at this guy! But she didn't get what she wanted out of me. That's the
Yeah.
thing. And I think that made her
you know
mad.
what? The more I think about it, you're probably right, because she didn't engage really. She just kind of made us try to make a smart ass remark, and then she dropped it.
She couldn't engage because I made it to where she couldn't engage.
Yeah.
So she giggled, sent me the mental health phone number, and that was the end of it. Because she's like, well, I'm not going to get what I want out of this guy. So she could have created a false narrative. She could have created a false narrative.
Yeah.
Just to get me to jump on there and be like, she basically was like, dang, this didn't work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Juicy Smollett school of victimhood.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That guy's something else too.
Yeah. So you heard about that, right? He's out of jail now.
Yeah.
Threats, and I'm saying, oh yeah, he can be out of jail while his appeal is being reviewed. It's like, oh man, it's so exhausting to deal with stupid ass people.
It is.
So my question is, you are not returning the package because you were afraid of being profiled. So who's the racist here, her or her neighbor? Yeah, I know.
Great question.
Does that help the profile any?
Oh man, that's so funny.
Would the profile change if they said, "Hey, she returned a package"?
Can you imagine being her neighbor? Either kiss her ass or you're labeled a racist.
Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yep.
Pretty much, and it's the whole victimhood thing. I mean, we could do a whole show on just why is being a victim nowadays like the thing to do?
Because it's easy.
Yeah, it's the easiest thing to do. It's the
easiest thing to do.
Nobody wants to deal with it. Like if you have to go the hard route, it's like, why do all that when you can just pull a card?
Because it backs people off of you.
Yeah.
Like when you come at like our superintendent, he comes after you like that, right? So literally, what are parents like? All right, I'm not gonna say anything anymore. That's what he wants. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna back off. You know, I'm not racist. I'm not gonna come at you like I have a problem with the color of your skin. I have a problem with how you're handling things as an adult, a superintendent, an educator, a leader, and somebody that's supposed to be representing the parents, the community, and your kids in a positive light and a positive manner.
Yep.
I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you're a man, woman. It doesn't matter to me.
This guy's representing the future. You know, he's representing the children, the future.
Right.
Where's the future going to head to with people with excuses, with people who say, just do this and get out of it easy? Like, you want to get off the hook? Do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not a leader, man. That's not.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It backs people off. That's what I said. It just backs people off.
It's like a deterrent. Like, hey, I don't want to go to battle. I don't want to state my opinion. I'm going to pull this out. No one's going to say nothing to me. And
that was all. She was just race baiting. That's all. It's and she lost at that.
Yeah, and as far as Dr. Roberts goes, he doesn't want to hit head on the real problem, because to me, I feel like he doesn't really have the answers. So instead of having an open dialogue and talking with you and trying to work through the problems, he wants to make it look like he's the victim when he's not the victim at all. So, you know, at least that's my feeling on it.
I mean, I'm
I
not
don't
even there, and I can understand exactly what you're saying. Like, the real victims in this case are the teachers and the children. You know, because
Mhm.
especially the children, that's the future. Like I said earlier, a child will like still can't make their own decisions, but I mean, the superintendent, that's who the teachers are going to look up to. To the principals, that's who they're going to look up to. So either you're with the program or you're not. You know, in the principal's eyes is I want to be his favorite principal. If I don't abide by what he's saying or agree with what he's saying, I'm going to be the least favorite principal. So their school now is run by the same tactics that the district superintendent is pushing. So whenever he visits their school, it's like, whoa, I love this school. Everything is just the way I like. And it gets
Mhm.
passed down to the kids as well. You know, the job of the job title he holds is a huge responsibility, and him making it about himself, about his race, about instead of owning up to his mistakes, it's
Yeah.
like terrible, man. It's
And then
terrible.
right. And then you got the board members, they sit up there and they defend the guy, which I guess they would have to do it. It's almost like, we could use the comparison to like an NFL coach, like Antonio Brown, when Antonio Brown was going all nuts in Pittsburgh, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
got Mike Tomlin saying he's a great player, we're gonna stick with him, he's gonna stay in the lineup. So they have to have his back. But they're like, oh well, he's doing a lot of things. Okay, well you could do a lot of things, but it doesn't mean you're going anywhere. You could run in place all day long, right? But you're not going anywhere. So just because you're getting a lot done doesn't mean that you're something's like positive. There's no positive movement in anything that he's doing. To me,
Mhm.
there's no positive movement. It's it's just recycled information or recycled habits. It's just like running. He's running. They're that entire district's running in place.
Would there
They're
be
not.
anything that he could do, like in your eyes, to stay in that position but change about himself? That you would say, you know what, if you did this, you probably would be an acceptable person. Or is it something that it's already out the window because of the character he's played?
No, I mean it could possibly be out the window, but so for me, I think an apology goes a long way, right? In healing.
Yeah.
And I feel like the one thing that would be nice to hear is that you're sorry for we'll give them the first part of 2020. You know, where we talked about this before, Manny, we didn't know what to expect. We get it. But as information comes out, you know, and you start to see things unfold in front of your eyes that are just literally common sense,
Yeah.
right? You know, at the end of the day, COVID never affected kids. It
Right.
never did. Not from day one. So, we'll give you 6 months or 8 months, but now you pushed us into 2 years when we said, look, we're not doing this another school year. I mean, how many kids were pulled out of school? How many kids stayed in school that struggled, and the kids that were in school or out of school, their grades dropped. They didn't have any friends. Their social skills were pretty much done, right?
Yeah.
So all along we're like, okay, respect parent choice, respect parents' rights. Nope, not doing it.
Wow.
It fell on deaf ears. You completely ignored the fact that we should have been in charge now to make the decisions for our kids, whether they wear a mask or not, or get tested, or get quarantined, or whatever.
Yeah.
So now it's lifted. Now it's gone, and you still don't say you're sorry. You
Yeah.
still don't offer an apology. You're $6 million in debt, $6.5 million in debt. Yet you got over $10 million in COVID money. How could you be in debt?
Mm.
Imagine without the 10 million, or it would be.
Yeah, I mean, but still, there's no apology. There's no accountability, and now you're trying to flip it on the parents. Now you're trying to make us the problem. Like, I don't know.
Sound okay. So now that I heard that, it actually sounds like someone who definitely needs to be voted out or get the heck out. Like there's almost no saving that
Mm-mm.
because of the not
Yeah,
only
felt like
did
it's
he
too
miss
late.
opportunities, but
He had the
Like,
opportunity to come out and say, "Look, like I said earlier, this happened over the weekend. Let's talk about this money thing." And it's just that's what being transparent is about: opening up, and talking about how it really is instead of just keeping everything from
nobody
everybody.
wants to be led blindly.
Mm-mm.
So if this dude is out there, from the sounds of it, is just a bad leader. Like, the district is not going to get any better unless a better leader is in place, is put in place.
Yep.
You're going to
I
expect
agree.
another year. It's going to be the same thing next year or the next year, as long as this guy is in there. Don't expect change. He has no, how can you say, no intention to change anything.
Mm-mm. Nope. He's going to continue to play victim, and he's not going to take. So all the things that he says he is about, he's actually not. I mean, in my everyday life, don't know about you guys, but I'm not perfect. I say things I
Right.
shouldn't. I do things I shouldn't. Not bad, but at least I apologize for them. Or if I'm wrong, I say, hey, I'm wrong and I'm sorry. What can I do to make it right? What can I do to fix it? But to just do nothing and then come out with a video like that and call us your attackers. You literally call us your attackers.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
So-
my son hasn't been in a normal school setting since pre-K, and he's going into second grade in the fall. So that tells you a lot about how I feel about the
Why you
leadership.
feel.
Right. And he hasn't been in school either. So I don't know. I don't think I'm a sorry is good enough now. I think now you just got to go.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
screw the narratives and everything else that he's trying to put in place. People need to realize, how long has he been in as superintendent? You said 2 years or
He's going into his second year with us. He came from Oakland, California. And
so other parents could see how the district went from top district to one of the bottom districts in the county. You said, right?
Well, they're sinking pretty quick. I mean, I would say that they're probably maybe in the middle towards the back end. But we were the top district. So, we had close to 6,800 students, and well over 1,000 staff, and now they're down to like 60. Was it like 60?
Wow.
Just under 6,400 students now. Parents have pulled their kids because of their COVID protocols, and they put them in charter school, or they're homeschooled, or they're going to a completely different, like a private school or something.
I'm sure some people will just move out just to go to a different school district.
Yeah, and there's some parents that have moved out, and there's other ones that are talking about putting their houses up for sale and moving out of the district. Like, why would they? And when you're $6.5 million in debt, look, let's be real. If I was on the board, right, and I'm like, okay, we're $6.5 million in debt, collateral damage, right? What are you gonna tell everybody in the district? We have to figure out a way to right the ship here.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, righting the ship is not allowing your superintendent to go on social media and then call the parents and the people in the community attackers. That's not how you do it.
Yep.
And I don't need an education background or certificate or to be a doctor to tell you that. That's just common sense.
Yep. Well, we know about common sense during COVID. It kind of disappeared during COVID. Common sense isn't so common anymore. And that's unfortunate. Troy, you got anything else? Did you want to cover anything else, or do you want to start to wrap it up?
We can wrap it up. The last thing I just wanted to say is there was a lawsuit filed in the Commonwealth against all 500 school districts for their illegal masking protocols, and the Department of Education, for whatever reason, has chose not to respond to the lawsuit. So a declaratory injunction has been filed against them. So now they have to answer.
They're
And
just
I
trying
talked
to
to our
ignore it. They're just trying to ignore it, or
they're
what?
trying to ignore it. Yeah, they're trying to ignore it. And I spoke to our attorney today, and he said that he's actually fielding phone calls from the attorneys that represent the districts asking him to drop the lawsuit.
Wow. Like, come on,
No,
buddy.
we're
Let's
not
go
going to
have some
drop it.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
We have to set precedents now, because we have to make sure that this doesn't happen again. So, and this is the only way to do it. And I think we're gonna win. And when we do, it's gonna be one of those things where everybody's gonna go down. So
Yeah, it's how it's been ending up as of late.
yeah, it's a shame that a lot of people, and I'm not hearing this just in Pennsylvania. Remember Fiona, right, in Florida?
Oh yeah.
Fiona
Yep.
Lachelle's
Yep.
Bailey. So like I talked to her mom. I made that connection. I talked to her, and she had said, kind of the same thing, that like as soon as the masks went off the kids, the parents just disappeared. Like they're not fighting anymore. Like you can't just give up now. This is deeper than a mask being on your kid's face.
Yeah,
as you guys saw from what Stacy put up.
Yeah, there are many layers to this thing, and if it's not one thing, it's another. It's not. You can't just back off and say, "Oh, everything's great now."
Yeah,
because it's not.
And when I talked to Jessica, you're the lady that you referred to me.
Yep.
I was like dumbfounded when she was. I was like, "Well, how many parents do you have?" I was expecting her to say like, maybe 50, 60, 100. She was like 6. I was like, 6? 6 parents that are standing up for their kids?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I was like just shocked. That she told me there was only 6 parents. So what do these parents do?
They drop them off. They drop off the kids, and then deal with them when they come back. And
hand them the tablet when they get home.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sad,
well,
but
Manny,
true.
Thank you. I always enjoy getting together with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Always interesting, whether it's Texas, Pennsylvania, or anywhere else in the country. There's always something to raise the eyebrows. Or Disney. Holy crap! What happened at Disney? And whoa! I mean, that's and somebody mentioned it on a post. I posted that. They're like, this is not getting any kind of coverage, really.
Mm-mm.
And it's like, what the hell, man? What's going on with this? Why? Is it because it's Disney?
108 people were charged. I think one was a former judge, right?
Yes, a former judge.
Yeah, for child trafficking. Do you have the article up there? I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was child trafficking and something else.
Wow.
Yeah. Here it is. Let me pop it up here real quick. You can take a look at it. Let's see. More than. All right. Disney employees, a judge among 108 arrested in Florida sting operation aiming to catch traffickers and predators. Busted men and women from around the country, all now charged with sex-related offenses. Holy crap. On undercover, let's see, 100 people. Get rid of that. On Wednesday, Polk County Sheriff said in a press conference, along with partners from neighboring law enforcement agencies and nonprofit organizations, announcing the arrest of 108. Let's see. lasted 6 days and was named Operation March Sadness. That's funny. Judd explained that the name was inspired by, yes, we know what the name was inspired by. Let's see. And then they got some mug shots of all these people there.
That's crazy.
Seeking a prostitute, charged with human. So 5 were actually charged with actual human trafficking. And here, offered to commit prostitution. Mostly women. There's some trans people in there, mostly women.
Does it give the ages of the kids by chance? Not that matters, but does it tell it like the age?
Let's see.
13, right here I see 13-year-old girl.
Shannon Johnson, a 41-year-old, is charged with traveling to meet a 13-year-old girl. Attempted lewd battery, transmission of explicit material. Jody Rose, 36, is facing 11 felony charges for allegedly sending sexually explicit material to who he believed was a 14-year-old girl.
Oh my goodness. Dude, I would kill somebody. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Not
figuratively speaking.
Figuratively.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you got this racist guy that wants to kill people on your show, Manny.
I know, right?
Tomorrow they'll have a Manny KKK.
It'll be shut down.
Yeah.
It's like,
Thanks to Realtor.com's home alerts, we were able to see the newest homes on the
it's
market.
like, where did his page go? His page got shut down.
I'm going to get blocked from Manny's page now.
This big old FBI thing across the screen. Oh, man.
Manny's going to message me tomorrow and be like, sorry, I blocked you from my page.
Right?
We lost half of the viewers.
Right.
It's funny. I lost a subscriber, and I'll bet you it was that person that called you racist.
Really?
Yeah. It lost
Are you
2,
serious?
actually. Yeah. I went from 682 to 680 just in the time that we were right here. And it dropped off shortly after she left.
I just think it's my skin color.
Maybe it's my hat. Maybe it's my Thor hammer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
it's probably the green stripe. Yeah, damn racist green stripe.
It's because you weren't wearing green, bro. That's a virtual pinch.
Yeah. Right.
Well, look, I mean, I'm sorry if I came off that I'm racist, but I'm not.
I didn't take it that way. I'm not always looking for that. I'm not. And that's the problem now. Like we just talked about a little while ago. There's people who are always talking to make race an issue about everything. I mean, always looking for that opportunity. And you were saying those things that I totally didn't like. I just know you're not racist. So for me, it was not even like a thing, you know. And no matter us and someone else telling her also, Troy's not racist, please. And I guess she don't care. She thinks
that's where we are in society, though. Like she's actually conditioned to, she's hearing words, but she's not relating to me. She's not understanding me. And that's the problem today. We don't like what we're doing right now. People don't do anymore, right? They don't talk on the phone. They don't talk face to face. I mean, I know we can't talk face to face, but this is nice. This is better than me texting you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is better. This is better than me calling you on the phone. But people don't relate to people anymore. They don't connect to people anymore. They hear what they want to hear. They listen for words that offend them, or don't go with what they believe in, and then automatically you're no good.
That's kind of funny, man. Imagine.
Pretty much, man.
That's how they go into, well, I don't need this kind of stuff in my life.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, I like everybody. I mean,
unsubscribe.
So I try to get along with everyone, and I'd give my shirt off my back for anybody. That's the truth. And like I said, if I saw Dr. Roberts getting jumped somewhere, and honestly, I don't think he'd have to worry about that. He's a pretty big guy. He's in great shape. He's a former Olympic athlete. You know, I mean, but if it came to that, I'd help him out in a minute.
Yeah, you would run over and go, yo, you all right? Let's, you need some backup here or something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Nicole Price. No, I'm just kidding. I might hold her down for a second. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's where the sensitivity is at, bro. And like we mentioned earlier, it's the easy way out.
Hmm.
I don't need this in my life. Unsubscribe. I have better things to watch than this. Let's see what's
Yeah.
on Netflix. You
Yeah.
know, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man. There's real issues in life that need to be addressed, or it's gonna always continue. If it doesn't continue for you, it'll be for your grandkids, for your great grandkids. And I mean, divided we were when Earth started, or whenever that was, right? But divided we were by skin color until we became conscious that other people are humans. It's not skin color no more. It's like, well, this guy's conscious. He's alive. Wow. Hey, we can have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
But
Right.
people still select to say, racism, whether it's from any skin color side. There's racists on every skin color, and but some people are not even racist, and they just automatically say, well, I don't want to deal with him because he's racist. Why am I
Yeah.
racist? Why is this person racist? He's self-hated Mexican. He's wearing a green
Mhm.
shirt. He's supporting St. Patrick. He ain't even from Ireland. Like, shut up, man. You
Yeah,
know?
we get called names too. I get called.
You know, I don't know if either.
Go ahead.
You get called
A
what?
coconut. You know, brown on the outside, white
Really?
on the inside. Oh yeah.
Dude, I've never heard that before.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. As soon as I hear like you're not from around here. I'm born and raised in Chicago, in a metropolis like Chicago, and I was starting to get called coconut a couple of years ago.
I was
But,
going to
but
say,
I don't take that as I don't get mad or offended. I'm like,
you probably laugh, right?
yeah, I'm
You
a
laugh?
coconut. Yeah, I'm a coconut. That's
I
okay.
mean, when you said it, I was like laughing. I'm like, what? I've
I
never
just
heard that
picture-
before.
I
It's
just
not. It's
picture a
funny.
furry, round, brown
It's
thing with white.
brown
the
on
outside.
brown racism, bro, down here.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say, like, I have a lot of black friends, and I have biracial nieces and nephews who I love like my own kids.
Mm.
But I don't know if you guys experience this with people of color, your friends, but the guys that I'm friends with that I play football with or whatever, they hate this Black Lives Matter stuff.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
They hate it. They despise it. They So what I was going to say is you should reach out to your friends and ask them how they feel about that, and get them on a show and let them talk about how they feel about that. You know what I mean?
The problem with down here, Troy, is the amount of African American people that live here you can count on one hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, little by little over the years, they're more moving in, but there really isn't. It's still majority Mexican American, and the people who have lived here their whole lives, don't get to see a lot of don't get a multicultural experience like you do in the bigger cities or further up north.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I was in Chicago, I had friends and they were coworkers, and it's like of every race. It was not even it's not a thing. It's like, I don't know. I'm not into.
I just think it's a crutch that could be used at any time. You can fall back on it, well, I'm doing really good in life. Oh, now I'm doing bad because my skin color. Like, if I could blame everything on my skin color, bro, like I told you, my bills would get paid, or I don't know, bro. I just wish I could say I'm not successful because of my skin color. Like, I go back and I rebuild myself every single day. I don't even see myself in the mirror. Sometimes I see myself more on camera when I'm with you. Like, I forget my skin color. I forget what the heck I am. I just know what I am on the inside.
So does Juicy Smollett. So is he gonna come out and say now that I know is the prosecution and is the legal system still racist even though they let him out?
That's a good one.
Probably not. I'm a retired Pennsylvania Erie County teacher, and what these school boards and superintendents are doing is appalling. Get CRT out of schools. NESD is teaching it and following the Communist World Economic Forum. Dang, thank you for your service as a teacher. CRT is just, it's just more injecting it's meant to divide. It's not a good thing. CRT is not a good thing.
No, you have CRT, you have SEL, and then you have the latest one, that diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like
Oh, yeah.
if you break down CRT and you break down SEL, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with that, Abel or Manny, but it's social emotional learning.
I've
And
heard of it.
then you have the diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're literally all the same. If you look at what they're about, they're just titled differently, but they're virtually all the same.
I couldn't even believe the CRT thing. I remember when Manny told me, "Have you heard of this?" And I was like, "No, like what is that?" And he told me and he explained it to me, and I was like, "This is a real thing." Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, your color is more important than anything else in this
I
country.
mean, that's what they're
not,
teaching
Not that you're
people.
American, but that you're brown, or that you're white, or that you're whatever.
Like, doesn't make sense.
It's
man.
like they're undoing what this country was all supposed to be built upon. And don't tell me it was built
Yeah.
on racism. It was not. And,
No.
Hey, Angela, welcome. So it's
Well, like I said, we just need to bring people together, and I think that our superintendent could bring a lot of people together if he went about his ways differently. And now it might be too hard, but I don't really know what the answer is, to be honest with you. I just think we're really far divided right now, and I don't really know what it's going to take to bring everybody back.
That's going to be tough because
it's going to take people and teachers with balls to start speaking up and teaching the things the way they should be, and people and families and parents standing up and just had enough. We've had enough. Until that happens, nothing's gonna
wonder like how much longer
Yep.
would he is like when's the next opportunity to vote him out?
Yeah, Sharon, I just said that the other day. I said that
Yeah.
today to something. How boring would it be? Everybody
Imagine-
thought the same. Me and Abel were talking about the situation with. I think what we're talking about Melissa Lucio
Uh-huh.
and the documentary and that murder of the child or the death of the child, and we actually he had a different view, which I don't agree with it, but he ran with it. And and later I was telling somebody, wouldn't it be, how boring is it if we're discussing something and everybody thinks the same way and there's no opposing thought or opinion? And that's terrible. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
You got to be open to discussion without being offended and all that crap.
I mean, especially in the situation of like a superintendent position where people should stop thinking about differences and start thinking about what they have in common, which is their children. And if you're not thinking about your children, then why are you even thinking about the superintendent? Just stay out of the way, like.
Yeah, maybe this job ain't for you.
No, I think he's more worried about his books and his speeches and his like I said, look into that when you guys get a chance. Look into that Lively Paradox.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty interesting to see what they're about.
So it's beyond just the position. This guy, there's a narrative to it. There's a agenda behind it. I mean, wow.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, man, is figuring out why. Like why here? Like why us? Like, I saw that he was at one point he was a superintendent in Brooklyn, New York, and he was in Maryland, and he was in Texas, and he was in California. Like why Erie County? Like,
yeah.
I mean, if he was such a good superintendent, he would stay put in one place. Obviously, he had to go find somewhere else to go.
I kind of almost feel like he plants his narrative, right? Plants what he wants.
Moves on to the next place.
And then moves on. Packs his bags and moves on. It almost seems that way.
Plant the seed and move on. Plant another seed and then move on. And yeah.
Or ruin communities. I mean, right now our community is pretty divided. There's
Yeah.
people that are upset. There's people that are upset because of what he's done and what he said. And then there's people that have his back that think we're actually attackers.
Yeah.
So if his job was to divide a small community, I mean, he's off to a good start.
He's doing it. How long are those terms for superintendent?
So he signed a 5-year contract. He signed it in 2020. So, we have him for 3 more years.
Is there anybody above a superintendent, or have you already gone through that?
So he has like a vice, like an assistant superintendent. So let's just say he resigned or somehow we got him removed. It's strange to me that I was talking about this the other day, how school board members are elected, but they're not paid, right? But superintendents are not elected positions. They're hired positions, and they can actually come in from anywhere. And I was telling one of the guys that's running for state rep, I'm like, you guys should sponsor some kind of bill that makes it so superintendents have to be elected. This way they can't be infiltrated in from another area. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So if you hold an election for a superintendent, only a person living in Erie County
Right.
can be in that position. Could you imagine if that was that way across the United States? It probably would fix a lot of things in the school system.
Definitely. I mean, every community has a different culture, and only somebody who's grown up there or has been there for an X amount of years knows what that culture is and where the culture is headed. Because imagine all the work the previous superintendents have done to become the best district in the county, to just have an outsider come in and just not understand, have no clue, to drive it to the ground because they no longer are on the same page. And that's terrible. I mean, the same opportunity that was offered, like if you lived there, 10, 20 years ago, same opportunity that was offered to you at the school system is no longer offered to you because somebody had to come over here and switch it up.
Yeah. So to answer your question, he can only be removed if the board, like, let's say we had a protest of 100, like let's say we had 150 people, right? And we just put so much pressure on them that they had no choice to say, all right, we're gonna have to buy his contract out, because we have what's called a right to know. I don't know if you guys have that in Texas, but in Pennsylvania you have a right to know request. So you can file a right to know and you can get any information you want, but it's subject to, of course, jumping through hoops. So I filed a right to know to get his contract, and it was for 5 years, but it says that the board can buy out his contract. So they literally could go to him and say, look, it's not working out here. We're already down 268 kids, right?
What you paying the guy?
They're paying him $182,000. Well, they started him at 180. So he got a 2% raise. So he gets a 2% raise every year for 5 years. So he started at 180, went to 2% into his first year, second, third, But he also gets, and this is where it's kind of amusing, he also gets what they call a performance bonus that will pay him up to $15,000 per contract year, right? So he just got a performance bonus for $12,500. I'm like,
even though everything's being driven to the ground,
even though you guys are $6 million in the hole.
Wow.
Right. So now in the fall, he's going to be up again for another performance bonus. This guy's making a ton of money. I mean, a 2% raise plus this big bonus, you know what I mean? And so the only way that he can be removed is if we can prove neglect. The parents would have to prove neglect, which board members can actually be removed for that. It's called negligence of duty. You have to petition, file it with the court, bring a case to the court, and show negligence, which I think we could easily do that.
Was there?
I don't think that's a problem at all.
Was the school district in the hole before he got here, or
No, not anywhere remotely close to 6.5 million. And they've been actually really tough. Like, it's been on the news a lot about the debt. And it's confusing to me to be in debt when you got as much COVID money as you did.
And lost so many kids. So it's not like, oh, it's because we're spending it on more materials, on more, whatever.
Right.
Wow.
Well, so actually that you brought that up. So the losing the kids was actually a strategic part. So we made some phone calls because we were like, okay, how can we like indirectly punch this district in the mouth? So it was pull your kids out, but there's a catch. You have to pull your kids and put them in a cyber school that is unrelated to the district. Because if you pull them out but put them in a district cyber, they don't lose money. But if you pull them out and put them in a state charter school, they have to pay, it's $15,000 a kid.
I see.
So they're being hammered for $15,000 a kid that withdrew and went into a totally different school system.
Dude, it also sounds super fishy. I think you should look into like the vendors that they're dealing with and see if there's any connections with any of that, like where they're putting their money, where they're spending their money, if there's any family members who own certain businesses that they're playing.
Yeah.
Outrageous costs, stuff like that.
Whew, man, there's so many connections everywhere, man. It gets exhausting trying to uncover everything.
Wow, so there's more to it. Dang.
Yeah, we could do we could do this all day long.
Just barely peeled one layer.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
And imagine if it's like that here. It's got to be like that everywhere. Like, I'm surprised Florida, like Bailey was telling me, even though Governor DeSantis is like, he's pretty hardcore, like with a lot of things that he does, right?
Yeah.
But even those boards there were like, well, we don't care what he has to say. Your kid's still wearing a mask. I mean, look at Fiona. She was suspended for 38 days?
Something like that, yeah.
She missed 38 days of school because she refused to wear a mask.
Ridiculous, man.
You take kids here that weren't even sick. I mean, I was having parents like message me, call me. I remember a mother called me one day and she was crying. She's like, so my daughter got quarantined again for 10 days. This will be her third 10-day quarantine. The girl missed 30 days of school and was never even sick.
God.
It's insane. So
can't wait for I don't know. I mean, it seems like the situation is tapering off. And every few days I'll hear, oh, there's a spike somewhere, COVID infections or whatever. And it's like they're trying to keep it around or keep it relevant, and it's just not. And I don't know. The war in Ukraine kind of made COVID disappear. So where's Fauci been too?
Yeah,
missing in action.
Yeah. Yep.
Below Erie County, Crawford County, 4 districts. Most tyrannical is Crawford Central, who is 5 million in the hole. Dang.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Yeah, it is. It really is.
A lot of money.
When's your next school board meeting? Oh, so what's this? Okay, real quick before we go. They wouldn't let parents speak. They just shut down the public comments at all completely.
They shut down the public comment. And I talked to my lawyer today. I'll tell you what he said because I took some notes. He said that there's a law called the viewpoint discrimination, which is it's a violation of the First Amendment, where he said you could actually bring a civil action against them. So basically we have to kind of let this play out because they suspended public comment and now they're going to come at a different way to where, like I say, I called in your show, right? And we're live, and I ask you a question, okay? And you have a lawyer next to you, and the legal side of it has to be answered. All right. Well, now they're going to make it so you have to propose your questions days before the board meeting, and then the president will read them, but he'll choose. But he's going to choose the ones that you know what he's going to do, right? He's going to take all the hard questions and be like, "Yep, not it. I'm not reading that one out loud.
Yep.
Throwing that one in the trash. Oh, this one here looks like it could incriminate us. Nope, we're not going to ask that one. Oh, look at this one. Are we going to put rubber chips on the playground this year? Yeah, we'll ask this question." So, you know their game, man. It's all censorship at this point. You know?
Yeah, that's
So we have to keep fighting it, man. And from everywhere, Texas, Pennsylvania, Florida, you know, even California. There's, you know, I have people that live in California that I know that are like-minded, like we are, and you know, it's all about unity, man. We just got to figure out a way to bring people back together. And
getting parents not afraid to stand up and go, wait a minute, what? And don't be afraid to speak out. Purely Nanda wants to know: Have any of you all gotten COVID?
I had it.
You had it?
I have not.
Yeah, I had it for probably 3 or 4 days, and I just had cold symptoms, just a runny nose and a scratchy throat, and that was it. I wasn't down in bed or anything like that.
I think I had it when I was in New York. This was before. I don't even think it had a name yet. It definitely did not have testing for it. I think it was February of 2020. And sick as a dog for about 3 days. Went to the urgent care, amoxicillin, and what's the other one? The steroid, the typical prednisone, and took some Mucinex, and it came and went in about 3 days. It was gone. I don't know if it was COVID. They didn't have testing for it back then. But ever since, and I worked the airline business, I was with the public all the time, every single day, and flying, twice a week, 6 or 8 flights a week. And I never caught anything, and I never saw anybody sick on an airplane, or there was never news about, oh, that whole flight got infected because somebody was sick. Never happened.
Yeah.
Never happened at all.
Yeah, I had it, but it was just a couple days, and I was literally fine. I mean, I felt fine. So, and I know it hits everybody differently. I get that, just like the flu does, though, right?
Yeah, George Soros. I don't know if you know who he is. He's definitely behind all this.
Yeah,
he's the puppet master.
Mm-hmm. So are the Clintons.
Oh, did you hear that Putin put what do you put sanctions on Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden?
Did he?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, man? I said this for a long time. It's unfortunate, like any war. I mean, if we had one here, in the United States, I mean, there's a lot of innocent people that are gonna be hurt, injured, killed, whatever. And it's unfortunate. But I think that there's a lot more to that Ukraine situation than we know. And again, I don't agree with what's going on, and I don't want it to be taken out of context, because I think it's disgusting that innocent people, are getting killed, and children are being injured and dying, and but I mean, why not? Like, if you know something, why not just come out with it instead of hurting innocent people? Like the whole COVID thing, like for forever and a day, I said COVID was literally a war on American people, and anything and everything that could have been done to help you, or to help your family, your neighbor, a friend, whatever, it was all suppressed so people actually would be harmed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the same thing over there in Ukraine. Like, if Putin knows something, right? Because I see a lot of things where, there was the Ukraine was funding the Clinton Foundation and donating money there, and the biolabs, and there's even things that were coming out now that COVID potentially came from Ukraine and not
Yeah, I heard
not
that
China.
too. Yeah.
Like, why just say it? Just be like, look, these are your enemies, right? This is who you need to go after. I don't think Putin cares about power, because from the things that I've read, it sounds like he has terminal cancer and he's dying.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, there was a good documentary on Frontline on PBS. I saw that late last night. It was really good. See if you can find that. I think it was how Putin got to war or something like that. It was really good. All right, got to wrap it up, gentlemen.
All right, guys.
Interesting conversation. Definitely. Thanks, Troy.
You.
This was your deal, man. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry you lost a couple of subscribers because of me.
That's all right. No,
you'll get them back, Manny.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to send you some racial diversity training or something. I'll send you some videos.
Dude, think about something, man, for a minute though. You could actually be the key to Melissa being freed.
I'm hoping to make enough noise with that. I had the Abraham on earlier. I don't know if you were able to catch any of that interview, and he had some things to say about a few people about making noise of this thing. It's like, I don't think enough people know what's going on. The injustice, even if it was, I mean, it's a long. I don't want to get into this whole. Well, this could be another 4-hour discussion, but she is innocent of like freaking homicide. If you want to call it negligence, if she died because she wasn't paying attention to the kid or didn't provide medical assistance, she didn't know she was injured for whatever the reason, fine, she's negligent. 15 years already, that's probably time served, and she didn't get a fair trial. The bottom line is she didn't get a fair trial. If you haven't seen the documentary, watch the documentary. It will open your eyes.
The key is getting her off death row, and like I told you earlier, Abel, I was telling Manny that, and I know this is everywhere, but just within my circle of people, my brother has 2 good friends, well, they're brothers, and their dad murdered their stepmom, okay, and he's been on death row for over 30 years.
Wow.
Like, and I was telling Manny, I was like, so you have a guy that murdered, he didn't even deny it. He admitted that he murdered her. He admitted to killing her. Okay. He's been on death row for 30 years. This guy, this kid's, and now his kids are all growing up. They're my age, whatever. But now they're trying to like push this lady's, putting her to death like that. Like let's get it over
fast.
with.
Yes.
There's a reason why. There's a lot more to that than it's like hurry up and get it over with, because once she's gone, if anything comes out, it'll be too late. That's the feeling I get. That's the vibe I get with that.
Yeah, and if she doesn't get executed, a lot will be uncovered, and there's stuff that they don't want uncovered, because it's going to be a big mess, and it's going to cause a lot of problems for a couple of people.
But if anybody knows anything, man, they should come out. They should act on it now, because holding back anything, man, is I don't know.
Yeah, just come out with it.
Yep.
But we're going to have plenty of these discussions in the coming weeks leading up to the 27th. Hopefully something happens and somebody steps in. All right, Troy.
Thank you guys.
It's actually a great discussion. Abel, as always, my man right here. He's good.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah, good dude, man. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for everything.
And we're good. Until next time. We'll
All right.
I may be back later, guys. I'll let you know.
Okay, have a good night,
Talk to you
guys.
then. Have a good night.
Have a good
everyone.
one.